Okay, welcome to the last episode of season 3 of Thriving After Trauma. How to create a life aligned with your highest desires. This, I hope you've got 5 hours because this episode's going to go for a while. No, not really. But this is, an episode that could have potential to go for a really long time. And I'm going to try not to do that because it's so important. It is so important creating a life aligned with your highest desires. And I got a couple of things to say at the start and to really set the tone for this. And the first and probably most important thing that I want you to know is when you are trying to align your life to your highest desires, you must first need to know, or you first need to know, that you are an individual. You are unique. You are authentically you. You are an individual, right? And whatever that means to you, whatever it means to you in terms of who you are, but please know that you are not the same as anyone else. You are not the same as me. You are not the same as someone you look at for inspiration. You're simply not, right? So we understand that you're unique. And to start with, if you want to live your highest desires, you need to work out what it is you want for your life. What do you want? What do you want? What are your desires? What are your dreams? What would just, you know, feel like the best thing in the world? And if you don't know that, guess what? You've got some work to do. That's where you have to start. You have to know what you want for yourself, or otherwise you're chasing someone else's dream, someone else's desire, someone else's version of success. And you will have seen versions of success in air quotes or been told what success is. I feel like, especially my generation, we grew up with you go to high school, you go to uni, you get a job, you get married, the end. And for so many people, that is not success. That doesn't instill them with any joy, right? So, what does success mean to you? Is something that you also need to get really clear on because, again, that is going to be different from the next person. Your version of success will be different to mine, the same as what your desires are. And in addition to this, I know I'm giving you a lot of pre-work. So there's probably going to be, this is an episode where you might have a lot of questions and you spend some time with those questions and reflection afterwards, right? Because in addition to that, what's important to you? What do you value? How do you want to show up in the world for yourself, not for other people? But if you don't know what your values are, if you don't know what's important to you, if you don't know what, is really meaningful and what matters, again, all of this is going to, feel a little bit sticky. So, what are your desires? What's your version of success? And what's important to you? 3 questions that you need to get really, really clear on first before you even contemplate trying to bring your desires to life. Because if you don't know what they are, you're just going to be like chasing your tail, a dog chasing their tail, going around and around in circles, going like, wonder why am I getting anywhere? Well, I don't even know where I'm trying to get to, right? It's pointless. So spend some time getting really clear on those 3 things. In addition to that, when we look at this from a trauma development lens, when we're looking at this from the view of someone who is a survivor of trauma, I am all about, and I want nothing more than for you to live life on your terms. I want that so much for you. And as someone who is a survivor of trauma, you have likely, and maybe still do, had thoughts, feelings, emotions about yourself, about life that aren't fully yours. They've been handed to you based on what you've been told or situations that you've been through. Maybe you think you should be a certain way because someone else has told you that, or an experience has left you feeling that, this has to be who you are, right? And I just really want to normalize that. I really want to normalize that when you have experienced trauma, we attach ourselves to other people. And situations. I should say situations because not everything is like about a person. But you might be carrying things that aren't yours. You might be thinking and feeling things that aren't actually yours and aren't true for you. So again, spend some time gently figuring out what's real for you and then step forward from there. Right? So just get really clear on like, is this mine or am I carrying this based on someone or something else? So lean into what is genuinely yours. And you will know because when it's yours, it's like, okay, yep, that's mine. When it's someone else's, you will naturally think of another person or a situation. You're like, oh, and you can feel it in your body. If you tune in, you can feel it in your body. So they're the first couple of things, but pieces that I want to say that are really, really important. And above all else, like don't make yourself wrong for anything. Don't make yourself wrong. You've spent enough of your life doing that, and I don't want you to do it anymore. Okay? I know it's not about what I want, but that's what I want. Another thing, understand that if there is one guarantee in life, if I can guarantee and promise you one thing, it's that you will experience change. Change is a constant. Change is something that just happens, whether we want it to or not. And you will evolve over time. The way you feel might change. Your desires and what you want might change. Your situation might change. So every time you notice something changing, give yourself space for that. Acknowledge that a change is happening because it's kind of if we can't acknowledge and accept that change, like we need to be comfortable with change. If you can't accept that and roll with it, it's going to feel really sticky, right? You're just going to be like butting heads with yourself. It's kind of if you're in a relationship and it's kind of run its course and you're just telling yourself, no, no, this is the relationship. He's the one. He's always been the one. But your heart's like, it's not. They're not the one. And you're, trying to convince yourself that they are, you're butting heads. If you have always wanted to work part-time, always wanted to work part-time, and all of a sudden you're like, I want to be doing more. I want to be doing more. If you're like, oh no, I can't do that. Of course you can. Big one, kids. Maybe you have or have not wanted kids, and that changes. You know, accepting that, okay, well, actually, maybe this is a little bit different. I once had a friend who was adamant she didn't want kids. She's like, I don't want kids, not interested in kids. And she was dating an older guy at one stage. She's like, I don't want kids. He didn't want kids. Great, no worries. He went and got a vasectomy one day and she was furious and they broke up because of it. She's like, well, I don't want kids, but I also don't want that option taken away from me. She is now married to someone else with kids, you know? So that gets to change and you need to honor that change. Sometimes that will mean creating more space to allow that change to kind of become clear. Or if you're going through an evolution or if you're working through something or healing, like we've always got that messy middle, creating space for that. And other times there's going to be change that you notice that you want to action really quickly. So do it. Right. So again, it's being self-aware enough to know, is this a moment where I need to give myself space? Or is this a moment where like I'm good to go? Change is a constant. Everyone is going to experience it. Be prepared to continue to do the work. When we are living to our highest desires, we must be prepared to continue to do the work. And you might be thinking or hear that and go, oh, fuck no, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I do. Let me settle your heart here. When you have done your primary healing, like when you have really been in it and come out of it, the work required of you moving forward is nowhere near as hard as that initial piece, right? But there will be patterns, cycles, thoughts, behaviors that come up that you need to be aware of. There might be fears or doubts that show up that, maybe there's an extra layer that just needs to be looked at. But if you are going to live to your highest desires, you need to continue to do the work. I'm still doing the work. I'm in a group container at the moment, which has a very heavy learning component. And there's been some like topics that I've looked at and been like, oh yeah, I'm all over this. Like I'm good with this. And then a question's been asked, and I think, hmm, maybe I'm not all over this. Maybe there's more work to do here. But it also doesn't, none of this feels heavy. It doesn't feel hard for me. It's exciting for me. And I chose to be in this container, or wanted to be in this container, I should say, because I was ready to learn more about myself. I was ready to deepen my skills, deepen my space holding, to learn, to learn. I've been through a season where it's very much been about family and business and not as much about me, like still about me, but not learning. And now I'm ready to learn more. And part of that means doing the work, being really honest, getting really clear. Yeah. So just be prepared to do the work. Doesn't have to be hard. Doesn't have to be a bad thing. Actually gets to be a really good thing. I always, there's moments when I'm in it and I'm like, oh, this isn't fun. But whenever I have a challenging, you know, situation or I'm going through something, I actually get excited because it's like, okay, like what am I going to learn from this? And that gets to be really fun. Instead of like, how the fuck do I heal this shit and get out of this hole? It's like, what do I learn from this? How do I grow? Like, what does this mean? You know? Another thing I would say is be relentless in your pursuit. Be relentless in the pursuit of your highest desires. Be relentless in aligning yourself to your highest desires. Now, when I say this, I feel like some people will naturally go, be relentless. All right, I've got to hustle, I've got to work, I've got to like get switch on. And I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that in any way. I am absolutely not saying by being relentless, you must hustle and burn yourself out until you have achieved what you want. Because if that's the way you get there, you're going to get there and just be fucking exhausted. So what's like, that's not fun. But that's not fun at all. Unless, of course, you want to. If that's what you want, if you're like, no, I'm ready to hustle, hustle your little heart off. Go for it. I'm not saying that, right? And this again is where you need to use your discernment about what is right for you compared to what other people say. There are a lot of coaches in the industry who talk about, oh, I have this life of so much space and I have freedom and I have, financial abundance and I have all of this, blah, blah, blah. And you can create this too. And you just have to do this one simple thing. Like makes it's fucking annoying, if I'm honest. But they promote this. But what they don't talk about is the period of time when they were working their fucking ass off, where they were hustling, where they were, doing all of that kind of stuff, you know? So be discerning about who you listen to, but also what is true for you. Because you might be like, if I hustle for 2 years, then in what, like, and I'm not saying you have to build a business, like whatever it is that you're looking to do, whatever your highest desires is, you're like, if I really knuckle down and focus on this for a year or two or whatever it is, then that's what I'm going to do. Or you might be like, you know what, this is what I want, and I'm going to do it slowly. I'm going to take my time. I'm just going to see what happens. Again, this is up to you. But what I am saying when I say be relentless is don't give up because there's challenges or because things don't happen straight away. Don't give up because someone laughs at you or makes fun of what your desires are. Don't give up because you think it's wrong or it's not enough, right? If you want to be relentless, you need to be committed. So stay committed to what it is that you want, knowing that it can change and that is fine. But if you want to be relentless, don't just throw the towel in because shit gets hard. Sometimes the best things in life are what happens after a period of challenge, what happens after a period of hard. Sometimes we have to work for our desires in order for us to be grateful for them, in order for us to really soak it all in. Not always, sometimes it's nice to just be given something without it having to be hard, but don't, yeah, just don't expect things to just be handed to you and don't give up just because if they're not, right? Again, people will promote different things, but you need to be true to you always, right? If you're going to align with your highest desires, you always need to be truthful with yourself. And sometimes being truthful with yourself, it's not comfortable. Sometimes the truth is not comfortable. And above all else, not above, side by side with everything that I have shared, because all of it is important, get support, right? Get support. Find someone that you can confide in. Find someone that you can trust. Find someone that will hold you accountable, right? It is so easy to give up on your dreams, give your power away, to just settle when there's no one holding you accountable. It's kind of like people talk about, oh, I've got this goal, but I don't want to tell anyone in case it doesn't happen. Well, if that's the way you're thinking, the chance of it happening is probably slim to none. Whereas when you have someone accountable, you're like, this is what I want. You're declaring it, you're putting it out in the world. And you've got someone that's like, how are you going with that? What are you doing? How do we navigate this? You know, the only person that you are doing a disservice to by not getting support is you. You are doing yourself an absolute disservice by not getting support. And, I'm not saying it's a coach, maybe it is, maybe it's me, and that would be awesome. But maybe not, right? It might be a different coach, or it might be a psychologist, or it might be a business mentor, or a marketing person, or who knows, right? But have someone that can support you. And again, coming back to episode 177 about what real support is, making sure that they fit that, not that box, because we're not putting people in boxes, but making sure that they genuinely do support you. Get support. I can't tell you, I have had a couple of small periods of time since I started my business in 2018, 2019, one of those, um, where I haven't had a coach or mentor. And it is so much harder. It is so much harder not having someone to bounce ideas off, not having someone to be there like on those days where you're frazzled, not having someone to just be like, oh, complain to. Not in a I'm a victim way, but just to let it out, and also I don't do this work for anyone else. I do this work for me. I do this work because I genuinely love this work and I love my community and I know what it's like to not have help and I know what it's like to feel like shit. And I don't want you to feel like that. Right? Okay, that got sidetracked there. Having support is one of the most meaningful and powerful things that you will ever do. The way that you trust and confide in a coach particularly, is life-changing, is life-changing. So do yourself a favor and get support. Find someone that inspires you. Find someone that you know can hold your stuff and lean on them, right? Allow yourself that time and space, but also give yourself that gift of having someone in your corner to A, hold you accountable, B, lift you up, and B, just to fucking support you because you deserve that. You deserve that. And the final thing that I want to share for this season and on this episode, because I think they're both, it, relates to all of it. What I've noticed for both me and my clients and everyone I know that's kind of doing the work that is a visionary is that you have to keep coming back to you. Always come back to you. What is important to you? What is true for you? What's the reality for you? Not from a way of blocking yourself and stopping yourself or holding yourself back, but from a way of living in alignment. If you want to live in alignment with your highest desires, you also have to live in alignment with you. Always. And there are moments where I'm not, and I know that I'm not. And then I come back to me and I'm like, oh, there is a calming of the nervous system when you give yourself space to come back to what's important, when you give yourself space for attention, for care, for love, and knowing that you can have your back that way always is one of the most incredible gifts. And I think we're far too quick to dismiss the power of self-support because it's amazing. It's amazing. So always come back to you and remember that your desires are yours. What aligned means to you is yours. Your values are yours. But you deserve a life where you are aligned and living your highest desires, where your dreams come true. We all do. We all do. And if you do want support with that, please reach out. You can book a discovery call and we can have a chat about whether I am the right coach for you or not, how I can support you, the ways that you could work with me, because I just know how potent and powerful it is. And I also know how much I care. I genuinely care about my community and my people. And I want you to live your life aligned with your highest desires.